Thank you for tuning in to Connect More, featuring the shared experiences, new adventures, and nightmares of four pals who have known each other for decades. Connect More utilizes the swear jar concept to raise funds for the American Cancer Society. When you hear this during the episode, the offender will contribute to the swear jar. We'll update the swear jar each week at the end of the program. We hope you enjoy the show.
Hey, yo, welcome to another episode of Connect More. I'm Eric. There's John.
Hey there.
That's Brian.
Greetings.
And that's Jason.
Good day, everyone.
On this episode of Connect More, Jason and John grow into their ears. Brian and I wet the bed. And then we whip around on things stuck in your ear. But first, what beach y'all headed to this summer? John, what's your summer vacation plans?
Man, I don't have a ton going on, but I have this music festival thing. I've never actually done the music festival scene or destination or trip. And I really have put some work into this the last 2 or 3 years to go online and say, is there one that I could go to? And I've even considered flying to maybe ones in California, that sort of thing. Not Coachella, but something a little more sort of my age group bracket style.
And so please go to Coachella. I would love to see you at Coachella.
Oh my God. Reporting live from Coachella. So you guys saw, I found this Riot Fest in Chicago. That's what I'm currently fixated on. Could change. Thought about Bonnaroo, but I gotta, I'm running out of summers where I'm gonna feel like that's something I can go do.
Wilco does a cool one, don't they? Wilco has a cool festival out on the East Coast somewhere, don't they? I can't remember what it's called right now.
Yeah. I can't remember what it's called either, but they do. Yeah.
I think Riot Fest is right up your alley, by the way, John. I think that'd be a really good. The acts are kind of our speed.
I mean, Johnny Rotten, Iggy Pop, there's Sugar, which is Bob Mould, and the Pixies, and then who else? Oh, Social Distortion, Bad Religion. Those. I mean, I love all those.
But then there's some new bands too that kind of fit that vibe. So I think you'd love it.
I mean, I wouldn't pay money to see All American Rejects, but if I was standing there, I'd probably watch it.
That's the key, right, Jocko? Standing there all day.
Ooh, brutal.
Look, I'm done. You said your summers, your number of summers and going to these festivals is running out, and I'm declaring my my gas tank on that sort of thing is empty. I just can't stand there all day and burn up all day. That just doesn't sound attractive to me anymore. I've done a couple of those, right? I've done a Farm Aid, done Lollapalooza, both of those with Brian, but I can't see doing that now. I think I mentioned today in our thread, right? I do a show at Codfish Hollow, and you're out there in the weather, and you're whatever that weather is, and you stand in that barn all night or in the yard, and by the time that show's over, I'm gassed.
Well, and we have 2 of those planned, right? So the other thing is to look for opportunities to do those shows, the regional shows with you guys.
Who else is doing anything fun this summer? No one else is doing anything fun this summer.
I'm not doing anything fun. I never do anything fun.
You never do anything fun in the summer?
Nah, I don't got too much. I go on vacation like spring and fall usually. So I don't really go on vacation in the summer. But, I'm going to get some baseball games in. I'd like to go to some minor league games. Might probably go to Cedar Rapids for a game or two. And probably go see some iCubs for a few games too. And then August, we got State Fair for 11 lovely days. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, those are plans. Those are plans for sure. I don't have, we intentionally made no serious plans. We have a few things. I think Tanya has a class reunion. We have a member of the family, of our family, and also the Connect More family getting married in the beginning of August. Other than that, we're not doing much because we just got into the full time into this house, the new house this weekend. So I think we're just going to try to figure this place out for the summer. That's our summer fun.
That counts as a summer project for sure.
For sure. Well, next week, Louie and I are going on a scouting high adventure trip to Oklahoma. So it's like,
wait a minute, camping in Oklahoma.
It's like a big ranch. Like it's kind of there's some foothills apparently in parts of around Tulsa. Okay. And we hike 9 or 10 miles a day, and then do an activity at the base at the camp that we go to. Then the next day we hike to the next one, and
activities like macrame and stuff.
No, this is
sand painting. I love sand painting.
Isn't this the
No.
movie City Slickers?
Didn't we make when we had that week we went to Wapsie, when we went to Prairie and we went to
Oh, yeah.
Wapsie and we made those candles?
Oh yeah.
Are you guys finished? Can I actually tell you what we're doing? Or
You know better than to ask that.
oh my god.
So projects, yeah, sounds good.
No, it's like there's a high ropes course at one of them, and there's one has like where you go jet skiing at one of them. There's one where you do like shotgun trap shooting. There's one.
All right.
There's like a Western village in one of them where they teach you how to do cowboy stuff.
Fast
I don't
draws.
know.
Is there a
Last-
talk to girls where you have a real girl?
Sorry, I brought it up.
Oh,
Anyway,
man.
all I wanted to do was say I'm going on this trip, and I'm probably going to miss the Wordle a couple times because I'm going to be completely off the grid and my phone's going to be out of juice. That's all I wanted to say, and you guys sucked me in.
You're welcome.
Mm,
Oh, thank you, Jason, for that report out.
mm.
Boy, those summer plans sound great. And speaking of summer, let's see if I've come around on liking the Beach Boys. Spoiler alert, the answer is still no.
We are the mixtape generation, so forgive us if we still think side A should slap. In new noise, same ears, we pull out the classics that shaped us and the fresh tracks we pretend we found before our kids did. Now, this one, we always like to think about the music of our youth, things that we really enjoy, but also think about who we are kind of walking around this world as middle-aged white dudes. So today we're going to talk a little bit about bands that we didn't really know or fully appreciate when they first came out, but that we've now come to enjoy. Like as we've kind of soaked things in, perhaps in this streaming world that we're in, we have access to everything. So that's kind of interesting. But there is, of course, a flip side, and this could be the juicier part of the conversation, I think, is there a band or an artist that you loved back in the day, but now you look back and you have some regrets? Maybe that was my misguided youth. So, John, I am particularly interested in who you loved back in the day that you have regrets on. I don't know if you've thought about that one, but
Yeah, I mean, we'll start there. I was into all those mid '80s kind of new wavy bands, the stuff they sold us in John Hughes movies and all that. We've talked about that before. But one I really got into was called The Alarm, and they had like these really like emotionally potent songs, and it was like post punk, and it was, they were in that vein of like chasing the title of like next wave major rock band, maybe trying to be The Who, maybe trying to be U2, and I listen to that stuff now. And it's just super thin lyrically, and there isn't much to the chords, and they kind of wrote the same song several times. And I'm like, man, I don't know if that's a lost potential there for that band, or if their lead singer who wrote the stuff just wasn't very smart or what, but like that was just a real miss. And it's not something that I would like ever purchase now.
they had a couple
Did they do-
mixtape gems, though, didn't they? Like things
Yeah.
that we'd all put on our mixtapes.
Like Sold Me Down the River, didn't they do that?
Sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Rain in the
Yeah.
Summertime, Spirit
Yep.
of 76, of an audio retelling of Stephen King's The Stand that takes 10 minutes.
Sign me up.
The usual.
What about a band that you have kind of rediscovered or reappreciated as a grown ass adult?
Yeah. So I'm opening myself up on this one. I already know what I'm doing on this
Here
one.
we
but it's
go.
the truth, and I tell the truth on this podcast. So I downshifted into alt country / Americana, whatever that is, probably
Attaboy.
2 years ago now.
Attaboy.
And I found my way back through this artist, Lucas Nelson, and The Promise of the Real, which is really the top of that form in terms of songwriting, is also his very reedy tenor delivery. And I rediscovered Lucas Nelson's dad, whose name is Willie Nelson. And it turns out that this guy has been both writing and performing these alt country gems for about 60 years. And of course, you're going to come in contact with Willie Nelson's music, but have you ever really sat down and listened to Willie Nelson? Because Willie Nelson is a fucking genius. No qualifiers. And I really, the last probably 18 months, have found my way to this. And I'll go all the way to a recommendation. Duet between Willie Nelson and Lucas Nelson on Pearl Jam's Just Breathe. Go find it.
Ah, that's a good recommendation. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a good point about Willie Nelson, that I know all of the well-known songs of his, but I've never sat down and listened to a full album, like all the deep cuts and all the, the unknown tracks. Never done that. So
You picked up my point. That is
that's
exactly
cool.
what I'm
Yeah, that's
talking about.
great.
There is real depth in his catalog. He deserves the attention he continues to get.
He's probably made like 150 albums, hasn't he?
Right. No
Or
one's
something
listened
like
to the
that,
whole
right, yeah.
catalog. Right. Exactly.
So that's funny John mentioned that, because a few months ago I actually wound up doing the same thing, and through his son Lucas Nelson too. And I went back and looked at Willie Nelson. If you go, so Jason, Brian, if you guys are going to do this, go to Redheaded Stranger, the album Redheaded Stranger. It's I think, if I remember right, it's an album that kind of took a lot of shit back when he made it.
When would he have made that?
That would have been
Very
75.
late 70s. I
Oh,
think.
wow.
Really.
75.
Okay.
It does include Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain.
Hmm.
But it's kind of got this storytelling old Western thing about this preacher as it goes through. But it was certainly ahead of its time, I think, is why it got kind of jeered when it first came out. But it's an incredible album.
Gotcha.
That's awesome. I love that. I will say, for a band that I have gained new appreciation for, is I think I would always like to have pretended that I was always in on the Husker Du thing. Oh, I've always been listening to Husker Du. I kind of haven't been. I think at some point back in the 90s or late 80s, when they were a really big deal, I just never picked it up. I'd never owned one of their albums. I never really got into it that much. Someone would start talking about it, and I'd nod appreciatively, like I was cool, like, oh yeah, Husker Du, they're awesome. I didn't really know what was going on. But now that Bob Mould, is kind of having a resurgence in his solo career, and Sugar is back and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
I've really
Yeah.
been listening to a lot more Husker Du, and I'm like, geez, these guys are awesome. And I think
Yeah.
part of it was probably my Replacements bias, is that if you have to choose between, are you a Replacements guy or a Husker Du guy? And I was always a Replacements guy. So, but I've really gained a new appreciation for Husker Du, and have been listening to their stuff a little more regularly now, and thinking, I wish I would have started listening to this 40 years ago. This is really awesome.
So
So
what
that
was
was-
that? Because I think what you're talking about is real. Like, because I know who. So in my own house, I listen to the Replacements. I never listened to Husker Du. My wife was a Husker Du fan. She never listened to the Replacements. What's up with that?
Now,
you
part
know-
of the social was we created these artificial categories.
Yeah.
And this band was great, and this other band immediately adjacent to it sucked. And here's why, and here are my 16 reasons. And like, as you go on and you get to hear more music in future years, you realize, oh yeah, I need to circle back around to the stuff that was out when I was 15.
Yeah, and I think in Minneapolis, at the time when the Replacements and Husker Du were kind of going head to head, Husker Du, even though I don't feel like they were never like a breakthrough stadium type band, but they were way more successful than the Replacements ever were. So
Yeah.
I think that was always kind of, there was that little nugget of, oh,
well,
they're
like-
not as good as the Replacements, and they made it. Why didn't the Replacements make it? There was always that kind of angst about that, I think.
Like, I don't think Husker Du ever came through like Cedar Falls or Iowa City or anything like that,
Oh,
did they?
touring? Maybe
Yeah.
not. Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't think they ever played Gabe's or anything. Maybe they
We
did.
would,
I
we
don't
would get
know.
them in Columbia for sure, more than once while I was down there. So it's interesting. I can't explain why they wouldn't have been in Iowa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
No,
we
no.
never saw them in Cedar Falls.
Oh no, not in Cedar Falls, but I could see them being in Iowa City.
Yeah,
at
I
some
could easily
point.
see
I
them
mean,
at Gabe's. That's
Yeah.
that's a total Gabe's place, But
I would think.
maybe they're too big for Gabe's. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So anyway, that's my kind of admission of guilt that I was never as cool as I pretended I was. Weenus, what you got over there?
I got a couple here. So a band that I really started to appreciate. We got like, I like listening to satellite radio when you get it for free, a couple times a year, right? And I always listen to the New Wave station. And you always hear these real, from bands back in the 80s, and Thompson Twins. They're really good. That's a really good band. I didn't really care for them too much back in the day, but you listen to them now, it's like, wow, no two songs are the same. They're just different from everything else, artistically different.
I paid to see them back in the day. I
didn't have any
stand the
appreciation
Thompson
for
Twins the whole way through.
That's a band I had no appreciation for back then.
There was a different kind of rhythms thing going on there with the percussion instruments and the way they used them.
Yeah. And then I think the other one is just like most classic country. I think I was tortured by my parents back in the 70s and early 80s, sitting in the back seat, and I just really did not care for it at all. We didn't have other things to entertain us back then, but now I'm kind of nostalgic for it, and I really like the classic country. So all the stuff from the 50s, 60s, 70s, maybe it's my dad, reminds me of all the stuff my dad listened to, like Patsy Cline and Berlin Husky and all that. And by the way, thanks for that CD collection, Tanya's dad, because that's fucking awesome.
Yeah. But the stuff you're talking about, and even you're talking about that stuff was really good then. The Patsy Cline and the Hank Williams, and that was good.
Yeah.
But like you said, Weenus, there was an element of us rejecting like the music of our surroundings and trying to do something on our own. There was certainly that element of it.
Yes. And like, I really don't have anything I regret. I think maybe we've all evolved over the years a bit. So I really don't have a band or any type of group that I just don't like anymore, or I think, oh, that's a horrible choice. I just don't have that.
The one that comes up for me, and again, I don't think anybody's like, oh, he sucks or whatever, but it's hard to admit what a giant Billy Joel fan I was back in like the early 80s. I mean, there's probably not a 15-year-old kid that listened to Nylon Curtain more than me. I wore that album out. I listened to that thing so much. And now it's like, oh, Billy Joel, because I think everybody thinks about that Uptown Girl, like that doo-wop phase that he went through, and it's just like,
right,
it was just not good. But I mean, some of that other stuff was so good. I mean, such a rocker, but it's like, oh, I love Billy Joel. Oh, do you? Ooh, it just sounds kind of like corny or something now. But man, I was a huge Billy Joel fan.
Well, that was the pop that was on the radio, and from like 80 to 85, you couldn't get away from. I think we all listened to Billy Joel. I don't think you have to confess that as a sin. And it was a spotty, and some of it was pretty thin as pop. Right? So I did that documentary that came out within the last year.
I haven't seen that yet. I'd love to.
Went through and kind of like I listened to this Spotify and I couldn't really get through it. Like I remembered it all and all of that, but I was like, this doesn't really hold much attention, especially as you go along. I think the early stuff was probably the most cliche thing you can possibly say, but man, his early stuff was better.
Totally.
We loved him when he was underground.
Right. You knew him when he was still in the meat cleaver whatever that was, Atticus phase. What did he call himself? Attila. That was the band. He was going to be a heavy metal guy.
Well, Jocko, have you chimed in on this one yet? I'm really curious about what yours.
No, I really wasn't. I like as far as what that I liked later on, something like that.
I don't know. I mean, something you've discovered as an adult,
Well, I mean, I can't think of anything that I went back to and rediscovered really, but when you asked this question, like I was a late comer to the Guns N' Roses thing. Like I didn't really.
Me too.
They came on so hard and so fast, and I listened to a couple things. I'm like, yeah, okay. But then as the years went on, I actually went and saw them live around the time that they came out with an album that I really enjoyed, which is that Spaghetti Incident from them. But then I started listening to more of their full albums and stuff, and so that's one that I kind of actually went back and grew into, I guess, and really enjoyed. Um, and I know I know Brian's not admitting to this one that he regrets, but I remember Brian and I used to be huge Milli Vanilli fans when they first came out.
I thought you were going to say Don Johnson.
Me too.
He has the copy of the Don Johnson Heartbeat album that was sold in Cedar Rapids, Iowa at Camelot Music.
Eric's the only person who owns both albums. Yes, there's two.
Yeah. Talk about a guy who could have sorely benefited from autotune. And if he'd had autotune, there might never have been Nash Bridges.
And AI would have done him some wonders too, like writing some real lyrics or something too. Yeah, that would have
Career in
been
a box
awesome.
right there. Don Johnson, ladies and gentlemen. Now, he had a legitimate singing credit before Miami Vice, right? He was on, it was a Southern rock album, and he both wrote and sang on it. And it was with a group of people who became famous. Was it Marshall Tucker Band? What was that?
Oh,
seriously,
I don't think that's who it was, but
we'll have to go look.
Yeah, he had something before he broke out as a solo act.
Yeah, but I'm glad we got that in there. Come on, Don Johnson, that's fantastic.
Hey, I don't regret that at all. I literally have the vinyl album downstairs. Now I wish my stereo was plugged in after the big move, because I go down and crank up some Heartbeat right now.
Well, and he'd be putting his little microphone on mute and just cranking it up in between segments.
That's right.
That's it.
And I just like it on the record that I never liked Don Johnson. And I was always a little bit of an eye roll whenever that was playing down the hall in the dorm. Like, it's not Don fucking Johnson. Jesus Christ.
Yep. That's why I go visit Jackson. I'm like, hey, how about we go to Port Dix and get some beer, Jax? Let's go.
Just wanted to make sure I got that on the record. All right. Well, I'd say that segment rocked, guys.
Welcome to Raised by Wolves, the segment where we take a look back at how Gen X somehow survived childhood without helmets, supervision, or a plan. We're talking latchkey living, Saturday morning cartoons, and pop culture that shaped us into the slightly cynical, mostly self-reliant adults that we are today. Look, kids, back in the 1970s, somebody thought it would be a great idea if humans slept on a bladder of water. This invention was called a waterbed, and it was all the rage in the 80s, right? Wayne, did you have one of these monstrosities?
Maybe even earlier than that. I think it was like the 70s.
It was definitely a 70s thing.
It was invented in the early the patent that we know as the waterbed was patented in 1971, but it really grew into popularity in the late 70s and the 80s, right? So, but because by 1987, for sleeping vehicles, the waterbed had 22% of the market.
That's right. Really? Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
As of 2013, it was 5% of the market. But Wayne, did you have one of these monstrosities?
I did not. My parents did, and I've had.
Oh, your parents did. Okay.
I had ex-girlfriends who had it too.
That's why they're his ex-girlfriends.
That's right. I'm sure it's for other reasons, but anyway.
Did he try to make that plural just now?
He did.
Oh yeah. The long list.
And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of liked it because I was cold all the time. But now I'm not cold all the time, and so now a waterbed would just be torture to me.
Menopause is a bitch, isn't it?
It is. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible. But here's the reason why the waterbed went away. It's a pain in the ass to maintain. It's a pain in the ass to move. If you had to move apartments, move houses, whatever, you had to move that whole thing. It's like, geez, you had to get special sheets for it. And here's the other part that I didn't like. You had to make your bed every day. Otherwise, all the heat would escape from your bed, right? If you didn't put that comforter over fully, the heat would escape.
Tanya had one for a long time when we were first, even when we were first married, we had that waterbed for a while. And I remember one time we lived in a house that was just an upstairs and downstairs unit in a big house. And for some reason, the downstairs gal didn't pay her electricity bill. And so they shut off the electricity of the whole house. So we get into this waterbed at night and it is
It's
freezing,
freezing.
freezing cold. It is so
Oh
bad. Oh,
man.
it was terrible. And like you said, those things were heavy. Like also, you talked about, I mean, this was 70s and 80s. This is when a lot of people had these water beds. They were moving into from apartment to an apartment, but you also had to make sure that your apartment, like the floors, could actually support the weight
Yep.
of a water bed of a full bladder of water, right?
Yep. Or if you had a dog, oh Lord, you had to worry about that thing puncturing it too.
Yeah,
Yeah, any sharp
yeah.
objects, all kinds of stuff, you know.
Mm.
It's just
And you
like,
know, you know why I didn't like it too is you mentioned about it being pure torture, but to me it was a torture bed to me because I would wake up in the morning and feel like every joint in my body was just pulled apart, and I'd have to get up and move. I was sore every single morning with that thing. It was
yep,
terrible.
yep. Didn't care for it either.
So
Um,
I had waterbed one time, and I inherited it at a fraternity house. So you decide on what room you want to be in. I didn't know that the bottom bunk in this room had a waterbed, and so I'm stuck trying to fill up this It's a single waterbed, and I can never remember to plug it in. I probably kept it warm 3, maybe 2 days a week. The rest of the time it was cold when I got in there, and it's a terrible experience. There's nothing worse than getting in at the end of a long day and you're trying to put down a blanket or something to get, the temperature up, and it takes forever to warm up. And I never understood why that was. And the like you're worried about the same stuff about puncture. Some idiot comes in and punctures it, right?
right.
It was on the second floor, which can you imagine the disaster that would have come from that? But the very first thing you said, Eric, is it was too much trouble to move. Like, what am I gonna like? I've inherited this. This is now my bunk. What am I gonna do about this? Right? I remember sending a picture to a friend from California. She was like, "A waterbed, really?" Because this is like 1990, right? Like we were way past anything that could be considered cool or interesting. I was like, yeah, I guess. Here we go.
Are you living in the movie Superfly or something? Like what's going on?
It was terrible. This leads into another story about the time I stayed on that waterbed during a winter break, and I'm going to save that story for another time, but remind me to use it.
Did it come with a gold chain? That's what I want to know.
Listen, now here's the other thing that we didn't really get into and this is for the young people, is like it was a culture. The waterbed was a culture. It came with mirrors on the ceiling, or it came with a whole like wood trim set above it.
Huge frames.
Special covers and comforters that had like star and sun ray patterns on them, and like stuff that you would never put on your bed. It immediately
the ocean.
Yes, it would turn your bedroom into a batch pad, a singles pad, right? You were ready to, it was hip and happening with you. You were about to go on Three's Company with, right? If you could just get that waterbed.
Larry had a waterbed for sure. On Three's Company. Sure. He did.
Yes.
We don't know if the Ropers did or not, but I'm sure they did.
The Ropers probably didn't, because what I remember about waterbeds, they were really hard to get in and out of.
Yes.
Because you had to like throw your legs over that hard side and like pull yourself out. God dang it. It was just, everything was a pain in the ass on those.
Yeah.
There's no way Mr. Roper's getting out of that thing without some kind of a hoist.
Yeah, it was terrible. I hated them. I never want to see them come back. I did look before we clicked record today, and you can actually still buy them, but they're more of they're instead of just one big bladder, right? They're like a series of tubes now. So I think it's more supportive than what.
And I think they're like soft-sided now too, and you can put them in regular frames, kind of. You don't have to get this big giant behemoth of a frame and things, they look more like a normal mattress.
Yeah.
And they don't, because that's the other thing about water beds. I mean, you move in that
Yes.
waterbed, and it
Ooh.
creates a tidal wave. The other person next to you is floating and moving, and it's just like, this
You're
is
right.
the
That is the other
stupidest
thing.
idea
Whenever
ever.
someone rolled over,
Oh,
you
God.
you got woken up.
Yeah, miserable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Miserable. They come pre-installed at Alligator Alcatraz. You can still see them if you are in detention.
It's just called a soaking wet, disgusting mattress, I think. I don't think it's really a waterbed.
The original waterboard.
Yeah.
The rubber sheets and everything.
Ugh, gross.
Well, guys, I hate it when I get water in my ear, and I hate it when I get a tune stuck in my ear. This feels like a whip around.
No doubt someone's wondering where we are by now. So before we get called back to reality, it's stick and move with some quick takes, fast laughs, and then we're out. It's time for a good old-fashioned whip around.
Whip around.
Whip around. All right. No judgment. Oh, please, come on. Quick and dirty.
Wait, you couldn't get through no judgment?
No judgment. Quick and dirty. What's your current earwig? Hey, Benny, this is known as the tune that's stuck in your head after you watch a movie or hear it on the radio, and it's in your head for the next 3 or 4 days.
Some
or
people might
weeks
call it an
or months.
earworm, too, right? I've heard earworm.
Yes,
Earworm.
earworm
Yeah,
or
earworm
earwig.
for sure,
Yep,
yeah.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. So I'm going to start with Jackson.
So, as you guys know, I listen to a lot of Studio One, Iowa Public Radio's music channel, and the song that they have been seriously overplaying, and it gets stuck in my brain all the time. It's called Mary Singletary by Deer Tick. It's very catchy.
It is.
But son of a bitch, I'm over it. I can't. I'll be laying in bed and suddenly, it's like,
No.
get out of my brain. So that's it.
I thought it was going to be that one cat that you wrote to Studio One and said,
Tonk.
"What the hell?"
Tonk.
Please.
I thought you were going to say tonk.
No, he's the opposite of an earworm. None of those songs will ever get stuck in your head.
All right.
Yeah, no.
All right, Jocko, what's yours?
So things tend to happen to me at work or sometimes in life, and then I put a soundtrack to it. And a few weeks ago, somebody did something that then affected the main job I had to do for like 3 weeks. This project I had to do for 3 weeks, but I had to work around it because somebody kind of did something wrong. And so also I think because we went to this guy's concert recently, but mine is Super 8 by Jason Isbell, because
That's a great song.
because
Go
what
listen,
happened
stop
to
the
me
pod, go listen to it immediately, then come back.
yeah, and listen to the first line, because the first line is what came into my head as I'm trying to fix this thing that happened, and now I got to work around it for 3 weeks. And because the first line is, I don't want to die in a Super 8 motel just because someone's evening didn't go so well. So right. I'm stuck in this. I can't do anything because of somebody else did something. I can't do anything about it. I just hope I don't die.
All right, I'm going to go with mine. Last Christmas, final answer. Oh, just kidding. Okay.
That's a good callback. Fuck you.
You did that to put that in our head, you son of a bitch.
You're welcome.
Well, I guess I don't get Super 8 out of my head for a couple days.
Well,
We've
we
got
watched.
half Christmas coming up. We're only a few weeks away.
Did we already blow Whamageddon now because you brought it up? Are we done already for this year?
Are we out already?
Yeah.
So I watched the movie 28 years later, Bone Temple, and one of the records that Ray Fiennes character had was Duran Duran. Yeah, Duran Duran's Rio album, and of course he played Rio, and that's just been stuck in my head. Like, it should be paying fucking rent over the last few weeks. Okay,
It's an incredibly catchy song.
it is. It is. And then, of course, Of course, he was dancing along to it in the movie too. That's in the back of your head too. You're just like, oh fuck. Why can't I like replace this with something like Straight to Hell by the Clash, or Exactly What It Looks Like by the Shackletons? Please, come on, replace it, please.
But
Get
now
out
I've
of
got
my
the
head.
video in my head, and I'm
That's
seeing
right.
those guys standing on the yacht with the wind blowing their hair.
Yes.
Oh man,
Yes.
totally. Yep.
Yes. All right. I want that fucker out. I want don't stop paying rent. All right, John, what's yours?
Well, now it's Rio. I recently ended an unpaid part-time gig abruptly, and I had part of my assignment.
We're sorry to hear that.
Was
They fired him at 7-Eleven, folks. It's it's ugly.
Well, Become a Go got bought out. It's done.
I would be required to march up and down streets and go to people's houses. And so all of the streets are either streets or avenues. And so that the word avenue triggered the end of Warren Zevon's song Desperados Under the Eaves, where they repeat over and over, look away down Gower Avenue. And he builds it to this ridiculous crescendo. And he's kind of making fun of those like overwrought 70s songs. It is a great song, but now it's in my head because it's got a great melody. So that's all I can hear is the Desperados Under the Eaves chorus.
All right. So my sympathies to all three of you and myself. So the card's in the mail. The card's in the mail. Okay. All right. So we're officially whipped. Swear jar amount to benefit American Cancer Society. Oh, come on. We can get about $300 this fucking episode.
Let's go.
$287. Come on. We can fucking do this. Come on.
Let's kick some ass.
Yes. Closing credits, please.
See you later, assholes.
Cha-ching.
Thank you for listening to Connect More. I'm the producer. Please subscribe and like this podcast because it's my only chance of getting paid for this gig. Connect More is a product of Pan Tiger LLC and is hosted by Brian Danielson, Eric Van Lanker, Jason Nisus, and John Hedgecoff. Connect More is edited by me and Jocko. The showrunners are Jax, Hedge, and Weenus. Theme music written and recorded by Ryan Veeder. Cover art designed by Leon Golden. Musical director is Evil. Legal liaison is Brian. Lead writers are John and Eric. Runner-up writers are Jason and Captain Danielson. Publication coordinator is Jax. Special thanks to GVC, Aaron, Miss Roper, and Yoko. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure to follow Connect More on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.